Do you want to see how good my tactics actually are and see how they perform in an actual game save? That is why we're now doing rebuilds on this channel exclusively. And we are going to kick things off with Newcastle United, a very big team. Obviously had a decent season in the Premier League, a lot of resources, a lot of fun, and one of the funnest rebuilds you can potentially do in the whole of Football Manager. So what a way to start. If you do enjoy the rebuilds and you're excited for this journey, be sure to leave a like and subscribe and comment right now 3 to 4 teams you want to see rebuilt, because I'm trying to build up a list and obviously I want your help. So let's go into it. Let's have a little bit of a rundown of Newcastle as a club. So this is Newcastle. As you can see, a team with 4-star reputation, 3.5-star training, 3-star youth and 3-star youth recruitment, and a big bank balance. That is really what you get with Newcastle. That is why I am here anyway. I want to see that money. I want to see the players I can bring in. I want to see how far we can take this team inside of 5 seasons. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a big journey. And to do so, we are going to be using the Eddie Howe tactic previously of literally a couple of days ago I posted. So you can go over and get that as well. But be sure to smash that like button and subscribe. And as I said, comment some teams below you want to see. But this 4-3-3 is a really good tactic. Obviously, it's not the focus of today's video. This is going to be the players we've got. So it is going to be Isaac. This is going to be a man I want to keep the entirety of the rebuild. He's a fantastic striker and a player, if I can keep, I genuinely think he can potentially win me the Premier League. He is that good in my eyes. I absolutely love him. Barnes is another player who can develop quite well. Is he Premier League winning? Potentially not, but he is a good player regardless of that. Obviously, we've got the likes of Bruno, a really, really good player who, again, can win you a Premier League, in my opinion. We've got the guy who loves a bet. We've got Joshdaly, who is somewhere down here, I believe. There he is. Joshdaly himself, he can definitely win you a Premier League, and he can put a bet on the Premier League as well. So hopefully we can get him back into the team and performing. Jolinton is a player who I actually really like. Not necessarily world class, but he'll do anything for the badge, you know. You need them sort of players. A decent backline, Botman, Shah. You know, there's really good players in this team, but of course they're sort of midway through a transition. So you've got slightly older players, slightly younger players. It is literally the perfect team to rebuild, to be fair. Now, if I was to actually start signing players in the first window, we would actually have 4.3 million. Now, the rules of my rebuilds, if you weren't obviously famous, or, you know, you weren't obviously famously watching the second channel where I was doing these rebuilds, I don't spend in the first season. It's a general rule because I like to see what the players do, how well they perform. So we're not going to spend any money in this first season. Now, we are going to be performing in the Premier League, the Champions League, the FA Cup, and the Carabao Cup. So 4 competitions, and they are going to be predicting a finish of 3rd place, which I think is quite a lot to ask for, to be fair. But obviously they've seen the tactic, they know how good this can be. They've seen the team, they've seen the manager. Let's go over to the first season, see what we can do, and hopefully I want to finish at least in the Champions League positions. Oh, Europa League positions. God, I am asking for the world. It goes to show how good the tactics are on this channel, because we've come out in the first season and actually won the Premier League. Now, it's not over, because we're still going to try and push on, win as many cups as we can. The Champions League, the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup, anything we can lift. And this team needs a big rebuild still, because this is not going to be sustainable. We've had one remarkable season, and what a season it was. Isaac, the top goal scorer. What a way to start things, by the way. That is utterly remarkable. In terms of the cups, though, how did we get on? We didn't win it, of course, but not a bad display in the Champions League, getting to the quarterfinals, where unfortunately Manchester City, an English team, knock us out. Currently the game is fixed, because we match up against Man City again in the FA Cup. Unfortunately, knock us out again in 2-0 fashion, and the last competition, the Carabao Cup, Liverpool favour us in that one in the 3rd round. So cup-wise, not so good, but Premier League-wise, absolutely buzzing, because that is ridiculous. What a first season. And of course, we are going to naturally look at, obviously, why we're there. Why did we get there? We are going to see 32 goals coming in from Isaac, Miggy coming in with 14, Gordon with 13, Jolinton with 13, 9 for Fraser out on loan, who I will be selling, Harvey Barnes with 9, 9 for Callum Wilson, 5 for Joshdaly. Assist-wise, we've got 14 for Gordon, we've got 10 for Trippier, we've got Almiron with 9, we've got 9 for Jolinton, Joshdaly with 8. Now, what I'm going to say right now is, as good as this is, we are heavily relying on Isaac, which I was expecting, don't get me wrong, but I need another player to be in that sort of 20-plus goal region, which I think I'm going to have to sign that player, because I don't really think, looking at the names on the screen, I don't really think there's a player that can do that as yet. As the moment is, I don't think a player can really contribute that sort of level. So we've still got a lot of strengthening to do in this team. It's a really strong first season. But obviously, looking at this team right now, there are definitely areas you can improve. If you look at the bench, like Lascelles, Wilson, you've got Longstaff, you've got obviously Dan Burn, you've got Paul Dummett, Matt Ritchie, Hendrick, Hayden, Jamal Lewis, Fraser, Vilka. There's a lot of players here who potentially I could also sell to raise the funds. But speaking of funds, how much money have we got? We have got Oh my God, it's always a dream looking at this. We have got more. We've got £187 million to spend. Now, realistically, looking at this, I would like to bring in at least 4 signings, maybe more, depending, obviously, on how many players we sell as well, because I don't want to have too much of a small squad. But I'm going to consider bringing in some more midfield options, a couple of defenders maybe, a winger option as well, because I'm not entirely sure, you know, the likes of Harvey Barnes is going to win us, you know, a Champions League or even, you know, a couple of trophies in one season sort of vibe. So let's get into the second transfer window, the first official transfer window. We might play about with the tactic as well, depending on who we bring in. Of course, you have to tweak it to how you perform and how you want the team to play. So let's get into the second transfer window. But what a first season. I'm happy with that. First up, and I'm sorry to United fans, we're going to bring in Kobbie Mainoo. He is going to be our go-to midfield option. I'm going to lock him into the team, make sure he develops into the absolute talent this man can become. He is going to set me back a fair bit of money, but as you can see, incredibly well-rounded after that update with the players. He's on £110,000 a week, and he set me back £80 million. The man rumoured to have moved to Saudi in real life, hopefully he never goes there, that is going to be Benjamin Sesko, a very good backup option too. Isaac potentially in the future can compete with him as well for a position up front. He plays the role very well to what I'm going to be playing in this team. That is going to be the complete forward. Really good finishing, good composure, very quick on the ball, only 21 years of age, again on £145,000 a week, and he set me back a total of £44 million. So quite a bit of money to spend, but quite a good player. The most sought after left backs at the moment in world football, that is going to be Gutierrez from Girona, previously of Real Madrid. I had to pick him up. He's only going to cost me a total of £30 million. If you are playing a save right now and you got 30 million and you need a left back, he is the only man you should be going for. He is incredible. He's on a load of money per week, though, which is the downside. £170,000 to be exact. But he's absolutely rapid. Fantastic crosser of the ball. Great determination. We can work on his tackling a little bit. He is still only 22 years of age. A really, really strong signing. One of the most sought-after centre-backs in football inside of FM, that is going to be Inacio. Someone let me know. I do not want to butcher the poor guy's name. A player who I usually pick up when I can do so. He didn't set me back too much, to be fair. 51 million is around about average to what you could expect to pay for this individual. £160,000 a week. A really strong centre-half. And again, only 22 years of age. So you can't really complain at all. Now, there was one more player. Of course, you can see here the total spend of 205 million. Of course, Lewis Hall was a signing they already done, so that wasn't me, but I will show that as well. He's not a bad player, a signing I probably wouldn't have made necessarily, but I can't really have a say. It's done now, isn't it? So it is what it is. No players going out, but I have selected when I'm going to go into the next sim that we are going to transfer list and sell those players. So hopefully they will be gone by the end of the next season. Now, the team is now looking a little bit like this. So if we go into it, this is filtered by the best 11. We're going to have Pope, Trippier, Inacio, Botman, Livramento, Tonali, Joelinton, Willock, Gordon, Barnes and Isaac. And on the bench, you are going to see some of these players that we brought in, like Kobbie. We've got Sesko. Now, I am going to lock in Kobbie Mainoo. I will be honest. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to lock him into the central midfield position, make sure he develops nicely, because when you've forked out that amount of money for a player, you need to make sure he's getting game time. So I'm going to play him in there and the other players can sort of mould around him. And that is going to be, if I, for example, say I put him in the Mazzala, that is going to be a really good midfield now of Mainoo, Joelinton, Tonali. You've got Miley on the bench. You've got Anderson. You've got Longstaff. You obviously got Bruno. In fact, let's just put Bruno in there. That midfield now is absolutely ridiculous. That could win a Champions League, in my opinion, in this game. So hopefully it does. Going over to the competitions, of course, the one extra competition, the Premier League, the Champions League, the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup and the English Community Shield against Manchester City. They are going to be predicting a finish of 7th place. That is a real stab in the back, that is. So let's get into season number 2. Let's see if we can somehow improve. So our first competitive game of this season is that Community Shield, and we got off to a flyer of a start against Man City, making it 1-0 in the Community Shield inside of 10 minutes. And we go again now, 77 minutes played, Trippier into Almiron, through to Isaac to make it 2-0. Who would have thought it? 2 seasons in, we're outclassing Man City, and to make it 3-0 up here, Almiron on the edge into the bottom left. What a finish. They do get 1 goal here as a consolation. It is going to be Erling Haaland. But to be honest, the goal meant nothing. Unfortunately, we're going to be runners up in the Carabao Cup as we lose on penalties to Newcastle, to Aston Villa. That would have been interesting if we lost to ourselves. Tottenham Hotspur find a very small window past us and beat us 1-0 in the semi-finals of the FA Cup. Not too thrilled about that. And we get all the way to the semi-finals of the Champions League, where unfortunately RB Leipzig beat us by 1 goal. These cups are so close, it is unreal. And the Premier League, it is going to be, as you can see, a second place finish. So we don't maintain the title. It was not to be expected. Obviously, it's very hard to maintain back-to-back titles, even with bringing in new players as we did. So it's still quite a strong season. I mean, Isaac keeping up the goals, Gordon the second best performer, Trippier and Gordon first and second with the most assists. Now, I will say, if you look at some of these games, so second place in the Premier League, semi-finals of the Champions League, semi-finals of the FA Cup, runners-up in the Carabao Cup. If a few games go different, we potentially could have won everything. And I know you can say that about every single season, but reality is 2 semi-finals, 1 final, and 2 points off the Premier League is ridiculously close. We are definitely building on a consistent, world-dominating team. We really, really are. And of course, going to the tactics, we are going to look at the goal scorers. And why is it only Kobbie Mainoo? We've got a quick pick. That is right. Let's go to the goals. It is going to be 51 for Isaac, Kobbie Mainoo with 17, 16 for Gordon. We've got Miggy coming in with 14, 13 for Sesko, Jolinton with 9, 8 for Dan Burn, Tonali with 7. Wonder how much he's got in bets though. 5 for Joe Willock. I need to stop doing the bet jokes. 5 for Harvey Barnes and Trippier with 4. Assist-wise, we've got 29 for Gordon. Trippier went to 29 as well. A ridiculous performance from these two individuals. 13 for Miggy, Bruno with 11, 10 for Tonali, Mainoo with 9, and 8 for Isaac. Now, I will say again, some real key players performing here. Obviously, Mainoo was locked in for the whole season, so I am expecting him to play quite well. But we've still not got that player with 20 plus goals. And I'm surprised that Mainoo actually, I don't want to say didn't hit it, but he was locked in to play every single fixture he could. He obviously is the close out of everybody else, but I'd like to see someone contribute with 20 plus goals because Isaac cannot score 50 plus goals a season forever. That is the harsh reality. It's nice to rely on him when you can, but he's either going to get poached by a bigger club or eventually have that slow decline. So we need to be aware of that because we can't always bank on him. But to go into that third transfer window, we have got a total of £262 million. The debts and loans don't even look too horrific, to be fair. £262 million to spend, and that is going to go a long way in this team. Like I said, if I go by the best 11, we'll do this together. The best 11, we'll look at this right now. So, Pope in goal, maybe we can upgrade him. Trippier, definitely going to upgrade him. Sharon Botman, maybe bring in another centre-back. The left-back is fine for now. The midfield is really good, but maybe bring in some younger backup options. The wings do need some investment, because Gordon's good, Almiron's good, but they're not Champions League winners. We've got good striker options. Maybe it's the wings and the centre-back and the right-back. They're going to be the main focuses. So quite a fair few players. I'm going to predict another 4 new faces coming in. Let's get into the third transfer window. Definitely invested in a winger. That is going to be Michael Elise coming in from Crystal Palace. This guy is honestly incredible in this game and in real life. 23 years of age. Very good for registration as well, of course. Being born and raised in England, playing in the Premier League for quite some time. He's going to be an absolute joy to use. Very quick on the ball. Got a good finish on him. Good composure, good crossing, good first touch, good passing. Can play in the central areas as well. He's on £160,000 a week. And because of all those factors and the fact he's English, he is £75 million. Quite costly, but a very good player. Next up is going to be Trubin. We are going to invest in that goalkeeper heavily by signing one of the best goalkeepers you can potentially get inside a Football Manager. Incredibly well-rounded at the age of 23 on £190,000 a week and set me back $35 million. Now, the wages might seem quite a lot, but they know you got the money. They're going to demand it. Then invest in the back line once again with Scalvini, a player who does set me back a total of £69 million, but you get what you pay for. A 21-year-old Italian, a hearty Italian, an elite centre-back, a good Premier Division player, and he can still improve on that. He is quite quick, great stamina, great tackling, good teamwork, good work rate, a really strong centre-back to have in this team, and just it's what we needed. We needed to make sure we're bringing in these world-class centre-backs and one for the future. At the end of the day, he's 21. He has literally got over 10 years before we see any sort of decline. And lastly, we are going to have the skillman himself. That is going to be Jeremy Doku, coming in from Manchester City. Not had the best of time at Man City, obviously, in this game. In real life, he's actually quite good, but in this game, not been playing that well, so we did get him. But I will be honest, we have spent so much money to bring in someone who is a big gamble. If he doesn't play well, I'm going to be called a fraud on so many levels, because we spent £100 million to bring him into the club, double to what Man City paid. £185,000 a week. He can go up front, he can play on the left and on the right. He's absolutely rapid, his dribbling's incredible. I'm going to train his finishing and his composure. He's got great flair. He's just a really tricky winger, and I think he can really thrive in this team, because in this system, then wide players can do almost what they want. They can do the skills, they can provide for the team, as long as they are doing their job correctly. Now, I know we discussed, obviously, tactics-wise, I was going to look to bring in a right-back, but realistically, Trippier's got one more season in. He is not horrific. You know, he is slowing down a little bit, but other than that, he still has got another season in him. And we have got Livramento, obviously a player who you cannot overlook. He still is a good right back, so we're not going to invest in the right back this season. But of course, going to that best 11, it is now going to look like this. It's going to be Trubin, Trippier, Scalvini, Botman, Gutierrez. This back line is so good. Bruno, Tonali, Mainu, Elise, Doku, and Isaac. That team is absolutely incredible. The bench is now incredible as well. This team is strengthening. It's absolutely remarkable. Considering it's our third season in here, we've done such a good job. We are going to be playing, obviously, in the Premier Division, the Champions League, the FA Cup, and the Carabao Cup, and they are going to be predicting a finish of 5th place. Going up 2 positions. Let's get into the third sort of season. I honestly think we can win 2 trophies this season. We've got the team. Let's make it happen. Champions League final time, and Sesko is going to get a massive goal in the 93rd minute to win us the Champions League final. Oh no, he doesn't, because Arsenal come back and they somehow equalise in the 115th minute with Smith Rowe. Honestly, an absolute joke, and it goes to penalty. Sesko steps up, sticks it into the top left. Saka comes in, bottom right. Bruno steps up, saved by Aaron Ramsdale. Absolutely gutting. Odegaard steps, a ridiculous penalty. Gordon steps up, a ridiculous penalty is the bottom right. A good save from Trubin there to make it obviously equal. Jolinton, bottom right-hand corner, no doubts. They step up, same position, in our heads a little bit here. Gutierrez misses from Ramsdale, and they lift the Champions League. But do not fear, Joshdaly is here. We have come back to win the Premier League. That is going to be 2 Premier Leagues in 3 years. We are back on top. Isaac, the second top goal scorer. No one else really in the average rating or assists, which does worry me, because what has Doku been up to? I am quite worried by that factor, but we are back on top in the Premier League. That's all that matters. The competitions, though, we are not going to talk about the Carabao Cup. This is not going to be on my screen. The FA Cup, we get knocked out in the quarterfinals against Villa, but a Champions League final appearance and a Premier League title, it's still a very good season. So we're going to take that. We were very close in winning the Champions League just 3 seasons in. So hopefully we get that chance again. Because if we don't, I'm going to be biting my teeth. But let's go over and look at the goals being scored. 37 for Isaac, 15 for Doku, Sesko with 13, Elise with 12, 7 for Dan Burn. Oh, wow. Josh. Josh, what have you done? It's not what I was expecting. I was expecting more from Doku and definitely Elise. Not a great season in my eyes at all. I'm not going to blame Isaac. He can't score 50 goals every season. Obviously, it's a few less goals than 51 from last season, but 37 is still incredibly good. It's that he can't be the man to score 50 goals a season. We can't rely on that. That can't be a factor of a team. Assist-wise, we've got 19, 14, 13, 11, 8, 6, 6. Again, you can't really look at this stat too much because we're not scoring the goals. So I mean, Elise picked up a lot of assists, I guess, as did Doku. But for the price tag you pay for these players, you're expecting a lot more from them. I will be saying that. So I'm a little bit disappointed in them. Like I said, the only man I can really look at with a lot of pride is Isaac at the moment. He's doing a really, really good job. I mean, where are we in terms of this? So defensively, we are going to be the 3rd best. Goal scoring, we're still somehow going to be the best in the league. Defensively, we're the 3rd best, although we won the league. So I might look to invest in the back line a little bit more. That might be a potential opportunity. We are going to be having a total of 242 million pounds to spend in the 4th transfer window. And I'm still going to somehow look to strengthen this back line. And now it might be time to replace Trippier. It might be time to do it. Let's get into the 4th transfer window. We've got a big budget, big opportunity. Let's go spend. Firstly, we are going to wave goodbye to Fabian Schär. He is going to get a move to the Saudi League. The first signing is going to be a right back. It is going to be Kayode coming in from Fiorentina. Now, this is going to be a right back option who I think potentially is the best that we possibly could have got. And when you look at this individual, he looks remarkable. 16 acceleration, 15 pace, great natural fitness, good agility, great tackling, and of course, good work rate on £185,000 a week and setting me back £68 million. So a fair bit of Wonga to get him into the club, but he is going to be an incredible right back, and he's only 21 years of age. We then turn to Bayer Leverkusen and pick up Piero. This is a player who can play at the back and obviously left back as well, so covering 2 positions in one simple signing. 24 years of age on £180,000 a week, but he's just really versatile. He's a good backup option, or actually potentially might get in at left back, to be fair. But 14 acceleration, 16 pace, great tackling, good work rate, good marking, good determination, good aggression on him as well. He did set me back a fair bit of £74 million, but to be fair, you pay for what you get. And what you're getting there is an incredible elite defender. A bit of a cheaper signing, but cheap doesn't mean bad. Another Italian coming into the team. That is now going to be free, which potentially could get into the starting 11. That is going to be Zanilo, coming in from Galatasaray. Obviously had a lot of clubs recently. Incredibly quick on the ball, great dribbling, decent finishing, amazing composure, good technique as well, good bit of long shots as well. £175,000 a week, and he sent me back £30 million. Now, he is going to be a backup winger, but it's important to have good backup options, and this is a player I can confidently say I've had a lot of success with in the past, so I'm confident he can do something for me. And lastly, a world-class midfield player, Caicedo. From Chelsea, he has developed so good, and I am sick of the wage per week. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see any comments. £400,000 a week to have him at the club. But if you look at him, I actually think in this save, he might be the best central midfield player in the game, because he's got so many attributes, which are 17. He's got 18 attributes. He is literally the perfect man in midfield, and he sent me back £91 million. The wage is actually physically making me feel sick, but he is remarkable in this game. He is fantastic. But going over to the tactics, the team is now going to look like this. Trubin, Trippier, Scalvini, Botman. We've got Hinsepi, we've got Gamirez, we've got Tonali, Caicedo, Doku, Elise, and Isaac. Obviously, the bench now is going to look absolutely remarkable. We've got the new right back, Jolinton, Sesko, Gutierrez, Menu, Zanilo, Inacio. We've got Willock, Barnes, Danburn, Murphy, Gordon, Livramento. Still some players we can obviously offload, but that team is looking really, really nice. And now, with the likes of Caicedo coming into the midfield, maybe creating more opportunity for these players, I want to see more goals being scored. I want to see a season where we've got, more than one player scoring more than 20 goals. I need to see it happen. So hopefully this fourth season can be that season. We are going to be playing in 5 competitions: the Premier League, the Champions League, the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup, and the Community Shield. If we lose this Community Shield, that's really going to set the tone for the season. And we are going to be predicted a finish of 4th place. Probably quite fair, but let's get into the 4th season. Let's see what we can cook up. Champions League final time against Barcelona, and you guessed it, we got off to an absolute diabolical start. Inside of 10 minutes, we find ourselves 1-0 down, and it gets worse. 36 minutes played, Ansu Fati back into De Jong, into Kolumani. Quick pause. Anyone that doubted me for spending £400,000 a week on this player, look who gets us back into this game. Caicedo makes it 2-1 in 44 minutes on the clock, and he actually pushes it 2 penalties. Isaac to Caicedo through the midfield and drives it into the bottom right to take it all the way to pens. Doku steps up, elegant, into the bottom left. Fati steps up, a good penalty into the bottom left. Gordon steps into the bottom left. Alvarez steps, same position, Trubin reads it. Willock steps into the top left-hand corner. Frankie de Jong steps, same position. Caicedo steps, he scores, and he wins us the Champions League. You pay the big bucks, you win the Champions League. The Community Shield got off to a flyer of a start with Elise scoring against his former club in 29 minutes, and making it 2-0 there. It is going to be Botman coming in. They do get a goal back, though, in 48 minutes. A good bit of play over the top there into Roberto. A really, really good finish, but we get an extra goal here to wrap it up 3-1, and we are going to lift that Community Shield. Elise again cuts in. Elegance. We also are going to win the Premier League, making it 3 times in 4 years. A really good success story right now. Isaac, the top goal scorer. Doku, the highest average rating and the most assists, joint with Caicedo. A really strong season. Unfortunately, the rest of the stuff, the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup, we've not been too strong in this rebuild. And as you can see, it has not improved really. But Community Shield, Champions League, Premier League winners, I can't really complain. Have we finally got 2 players scoring 20 goals in the season? That is borderline. I mean, that is incredibly borderline. 26 for Isaac. We've got 20 from Caicedo, by the way. I know isn't a lot of money per week, but 23 assists and 20 goals. And he single-handedly won us the Champions League. That is worth the money in my eyes. 18 and 14 from Doku. 17 and 16 for Elise. Sesko 14 and 12. Asking more playing time. That potentially can happen in the last season. So we've got some performers, but still Isaac is he's scoring less and less goals now, which is no dig at him at all, because he's done his job to the highest level I could ever imagine and above that. But we still have got ways to strengthen this team. I mean, filtering by the best 11, the team on paper is very, very good, but realistically you could argue maybe bringing another midfield player, maybe look Isaac, maybe now we can look for offers. Maybe if we get a good offer, he goes. I'm not entirely sure, but going into that last transfer window, we have been given a total budget of £185 million, which isn't a lot of money, is it? It's not compared to what we've been getting, but it is still a ridiculous budget to use. And like I said, some of these players I would potentially look to sell. So let's go into the last transfer window. It's a very big one though, because when you've won the Premier League, the Champions League, and the Community Shield, I guess, when you've won 3 trophies in one season, you've got to make sure you don't go too over the top, because it can go from here to down here, just like that. So I've decided to go for a current real good centre-back. Not one for the future necessarily, but one who now can do a job. That is going to be Cassano, coming in from Bayer Leverkusen. I love Bayer Leverkusen players, and he's an absolute joy. Very quick, really good tackling, good marking, everything you would want for a centre-back. 175 grand a week, and he set me back 73 million pounds. But that is just another player we can add to the defence, to the world-class roster we have already. Player I would have loved to see at United, but obviously he went to Benfica, and now we've got him at Newcastle. That is going to be Orkun Koshu, coming in from Benfica, 26 years of age, £235,000 a week, and sent me back £41 million. Not as good as Caicedo, but still along the same paths as very, very, very well-rounded, and potentially can get into the team. Maybe not by the best 11 filter, but will get some game time regardless of that, and just an all-round versatile player. A really big addition. He was asking to leave West Ham, and I'm a manager where I give players opportunity, and that's why we've gone and picked up Kudus. He can play in 3 positions very comfortably, Premier League experience, really exciting player to watch on the ball, quite quick, incredible dribbling, great composure, good flair, good technique, good passing, everything you would want for either a winger or a central midfield player. He is going to be on £155,000 a week, and he set me back £41.5 million. But it's just another player to add into that team who can play on the wing or in the middle, and always important to have options. So that has to be said, especially when we're playing in now 6 competitions: the Premier League, the Champions League, the Super Cup, the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup, and the Community Shield. That's actually, yeah, it is 6. I can count. I forgot to count then. Premier Division, of course, they are going to be predicting a finish of 3rd place again. That should be bumped up in my opinion, but the team now looks a little bit like this. We will make sure it is filtered by the best 11. Let's go and do that real quickly. There we go. So it's going to be Trubin, Coyote, Scalvini, Botman, Hinsape. We've got Gamirez, Tonali, Caicedo, Elise, Doku, and Isaac. But the bench is now 10-folded in terms of depth. We've got really good strength on this bench. Midfield, obviously, we've got Caicedo, Tonali, Bruno. We've got Koshu, we've got Joelinton, we've got Mainu, we've got Kudus. They're 3 players by themselves who are ridiculous. Obviously, Elise can also play in Mazzala if needed. The wings, we've got Doku, we've got Elise, we've got Zanilo, we've got Gordon, we've got Harvey Barnes. We've got Joelinton who can play there. Obviously, Isaac can also play there. Really strong wing options. Up front, we've got Isaac, we've obviously got Sesko, we've got Zanilo, we've got Kudus who can play there. Right back, we've got Coyote, and we've got Livramento and Cassano who can play there. Centre backs, we've got Botman and Scalvini, we've got Cassano, we've got Inacio, we've got Dan Burn, who probably will be in his last season. Hinsape at left back, we've got Gutierrez, Livramento, and Dan Burn. Goalkeepers, we've got Trubin and Pope. So every position is covered by really strong options. So let's get into the last season. It's going to sound weird, but I really want to win the FA Cup and Carabao Cup. At least one of them. To say that we've done it, let's get into season 5. FA Cup final time against Newcastle, and we come out to a very good start here. Doku wins it back, shocking defending, and Isaac makes it 1-0 in 31 minutes. And we're actually going to win the FA Cup now with a great ball in. Bit of a scrappy one, and Koshu gets the rebound to wrap it up. Now to the Community Shield at the start of the season against Everton. Coyote, ball from Koshu into Elise to make it 1-0 inside of 4 minutes, and it's not too long before we make it 2 from a set piece, and it is going to be Cassano, I believe, getting the end sort of decision there. Koshu through into Isaac, running at the back line, weaving into Caicedo, past Pickford, 3-0 in the first half, and to make it 4-0 and obviously win the final. Kudus on the right hand side into Tonali, into Doku. What a finish. Our 3rd cup final, when it goes all the way to penalties in the Carabao Cup, and as you can see, 2 great penalties there from Saka and Koshu. Odegaard steps and misses off the post there. Sesko steps and scores into the right hand side. Jesus steps, great penalty from him as well. Tonali steps into the bottom left hand corner. It is going to be Justinson stepping up and tucking it away. Joelinton steps and scores into the top right. Smith Rowe steps and scores as well, but of course, because they missed, we also win that. That's already trophy number 3. Also are going to win the UEFA Super Cup against Brentford 2-0 all in extra time. Unfortunately, the Champions League didn't go too well as we get knocked out by Brentford, which does make me want to look what's happened to them. Brentford, as you can see now, Thomas Frank's still in charge. Tactics wise, it's a good team, but how they're in the Champions League, I do not know. It's a mystery. It really, really is. How that has happened, I am not sure. But as you can see now, round of 16 against Brentford, a 1-0 loss. But you probably got a sneak glimpse of it there. We didn't manage to maintain the Premier League title in the last season. It's going to be Liverpool finally winning it. But it is going to be 3 Premier League titles in 5 years. You know, we've won the Champions League, we've won every English trophy pretty much. We have pretty much completed world football over these 5 years, and we have left you with one of the best teams you will ever see in world football. It's an absolute treat to use. Now, I will say you can get this rebuild file, obviously, on the Patreon. You can go and find that in the description below. And you can send me your screenshots on any sign-ins you make, any more trophies you win. Basically, just one-up me, because I had this guy the other week who downloaded the rebuild file. He sent me a screenshot the season after, and he won literally everything. Made me look like an absolute mug, but it was quite funny to see. So if you do want to get involved, obviously you can go and download that in the description. And if you are going to carry on from this point onwards, you've got £170 million to spend. You've got a world-class team, who, by the way, we didn't even discuss the stats, did we? The similar pattern, 23 to Sesko now coming into his own, though, to be fair. Elise Caicedo having a good season as well. A really strong powerhouse team now, which you can obviously carry on and improve on. And just an exciting project, to be fair. Some real good players coming through. But hopefully you've enjoyed this rebuild. If we go over now to their history, we go over to their overview, they've got a lot more stuff in their cabinet since we've taken over. So be sure to leave a like, subscribe. That part is completely free. And, of course, help the channel out massively. Of course, rebuilds are now going to be exclusively to this channel. So if you are a Tactics guy, I appreciate you a lot for watching the rebuilds. Hopefully you find them entertaining. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one.